See.
Brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Hey yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav, and if you want the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
What's going on, guys, and welcome to another great edition of the Dante's Boxing Nation Show. I am your host, Dante, and we got another great show for you guys. As always, it's going down. We got a lot to talk about. I want to dig a little bit deeper into the 2016 awards, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of the latest trending topics, as we always do. You see the number on the screen right there. You guys can call in. You have any questions, you want to debate, whatever you want to talk about, you guys can call in. That definitely includes the decaf, since y'all always the first people to watch the videos any damn way. So go ahead and call in and stop doing drive-bys in the comment section, and let's get it in, all right? So anyway, let me go ahead and introduce the panel as we always do at this time. I got my man in the studio with me, my man Milton Arline. What's going on, fam?
What's good, baby? What's good? How we feeling, Dante?
All right, man.
Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year. Absolutely. Happy New Year to everybody. We gonna get it in, man. Once again, we got a lot to talk about. And let me go ahead and introduce my man on the phones, my man from BoxingInsider.com. My man, he's a boxing writer, Kirk Jackson. What's going on, Kirk? I had you on mute, my bad. What's going on, Kirk? All right, well, we're gonna talk to Kirk in a minute, man. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let me make sure my man Kirk is on the line. Hey, Kirk, you there? All right, we'll get back to Kirk in a minute, man. But anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. Hey, Milton, the first thing I want to talk about, man, is some of these awards. You know, we're going to go ahead and hit you guys with some of the awards, you know, one at a time. But let's go ahead and start with, here, let me go ahead and pull up the list right here, man. Here, let's see what we got over here, man.
What we got?
All right, man. So, you know, we're gonna hit you with a hard one. We're gonna hit you with a big one to even get it started so we can wake everybody up, man. So I want to start off with the Crazy Ass Fool of the Year award.
The Fool of the Year award.
Let's go ahead and start with that one. Now, Milton, it was a couple runner-ups, matter of fact, one in particular, and that was your boy Alexander Povetkin. He was the runner-up.
Yeah.
But we got to get that award.
Nah, he was a straight fool.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt about it. And y'all already know why he a fool. You know,
Yeah.
He already failed his test before.
Right.
You know, and then all of a sudden, you know, he had Deontay Wilder fly out there.
Yeah.
And go all the way to Russia. Everybody talking about Deontay Wilder is ducking him. Deontay Wilder is scared to step up in competition.
Right.
Soon as Wilder fly out there to Russia, all of a sudden, this man, he fails his drug test.
Yes.
Now,
after he's been clean on the previous 2 drug tests.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you thinking he in the clear.
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna try to juice a little bit right as we get closer to the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And got caught.
Exactly. I mean, and the whole thing, you know, you would think, I mean, the first time he did it, Milt, you know, you could give him a little, you know, you could say, okay, you screwed up, you know what I'm saying? Sit down in the corner for a while. He gonna be all right. He ain't gonna screw up again. Kind of like Luis Ortiz. You can see Luis Ortiz, he makes sure that he never make that mistake again.
Never.
But how do you fail a second test? Now, Bermane Stiverne, he fly all the way out there to Russia, and Alexander Povetkin, he fails another drug test. So that's crazy, man. That's really, really crazy.
I know, man.
So let's go ahead and crown the man that wins the Crazy Ass Fool of the Year award. We have to give it to Tyson Fury.
Fury.
Congratulations, man. Hands down.
Undisputed jackass of the year. he gets the clown ass. Yeah, there he is. The Tony Montana shot never gets old.
The Scarface shot.
Yeah, the Scarface. The Scarface shot never gets old. Let me tell you, man. I still to this day can't understand, and I try not to discredit anybody who wins the heavyweight title. Undisputed heavyweight title. Mm-hmm. But in that fight, that is the worst heavyweight fight I have ever seen in my entire life. If both of them could have taken an L on their record, both of them should have taken a loss. No draw, no split decision, No, I'm telling you, both of them lost that fight. That was the ugliest damn fight I've ever seen in my life. And then on top of that, okay, I don't know if he succumbed to the pressure. I don't know, how long he's had the drug problem or whatever. But to talk all that trash, to come in that WWE style on Deontay Wilder, he could have got Jackass of the Year for that.
He was cocained up.
Yeah.
Now we know. We know.
Hey,
Can you
cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Can you imagine how high he was when he jumped in the ring with Deontay Wilder? And what about when he put on that Batman suit? He must have been seeing all kind of, gold. What my man from Lucky Charms say? Seeing all kind of green clovers and all kind of shit. He must have been seeing all kind of crazy stuff, man.
High as a giraffe's ass.
So congratulations to him on that. Now, my bad. My producer over here, he had my man Kurt on mute. So you off mute now. What's going on, Kurt?
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
All right, man.
What's good, Kurt?
Welcome to the party, man. We got a whole lot, like I said, to talk about, man. Like I said, man, the award show is definitely going down. Every now and then when I get a chance, I'm going to try to, switch over to the comments, the live comments, and I'll try to, see what you guys are talking about, who you think won, the Crazy Ass Fool of the Year award. But, yeah, we got some more serious awards coming in a minute as well, man. Now, before we get to another, award handout that we're doing over here, Milton, I want to ask you, what do you think about Amir Khan? He just said today that he's picking Danny Garcia to actually beat Keith Thurman. He says that he believes Keith Thurman ain't fought nobody, and that's pretty much what he's basing it on. I mean, can you really base, something just on Keith Thurman's resume, and then how much better is Danny Garcia's resume? I mean, what do you think, man?
No, you cannot. And the thing is, what initially comes to mind for me is that Amir is trying to give himself more credit in the loss to Danny. When he lost to Danny, it makes him look better if he's saying that Danny is the superior fighter going into this match. So if Danny goes in here, he beats Keith Thurman, then he lost to the more superior fighter. That's one reason why I think he's going against the grain. I think that most pundits and everyone that I've talked to is saying that, Keith Thurman has the edge in this fight. Danny's moving up in weight. And Thurman he's fought some stiff competition. I don't understand why people try to discredit him, but in my mind, that is initially what first comes to mind when I think about why Amir Khan would make that statement.
Yeah, and my whole thing, man, is I think the Porter fight. I think the Porter fight alone, that right there, it shows the type of competition that Keith Thurman has been in the ring with. Even Luis Collazo, I mean, I know he wasn't a world beater or anything like that, but Luis Collazo, he has given almost everyone problems. Now, credit to Amir Khan. Amir Khan, he did really well against Luis Collazo, right?
Collazo.
Yeah, he did really well against Collazo. And Amir Khan, he surprises people a lot of times against certain fighters. He did real good against Devin Alexander, against Zab Judah.
Yes.
So Maidana even
he surprised the shit out of me with Maidana.
Yeah.
I gotta admit that one.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it, but I think when it comes to Amir Khan, I mean, some could even ask the question, is he just praying that he doesn't have to fight Keith Thurman too? I mean, is that what it is too? Because
it could be.
I mean, but realistically, it's nothing wrong. I mean, Kirk, it's nothing really wrong. As a matter of fact, you're picking Danny Garcia. Didn't you say you picking Danny Garcia to beat Keith Thurman?
Yep.
Okay, so you obviously so do you believe when Khan says it? Do you believe he's sincere, or what do you think when he says that?
I agree with Milton. I think he does believe Garcia is going to win the fight, but I think it's more so just to feed his ego. That if Garcia beats Thurman, that makes my loss to him look even better because Garcia beat another guy like Thurman, and I do think in the back of his mind he wants to set up another fight with Garcia, and I think he'd rather fight him as opposed to Keith Thurman just because he knows kind of how Garcia fights, even though Garcia's gotten better since then, but. I think Keith Thurman hits a little bit harder and might put him in a coma.
I mean, my whole thing, like I said, now, and we'll get a lot deeper into breaking this fight down when we get closer to it. But I just feel I do believe that Danny Garcia, he's going to do better. He's going to do better against Keith Thurman than he's probably ever done in his career. Matter of fact, it might even be Keith Thurman's toughest fight.
Let me tell you this. I don't know if you can pull up the comment section from last week, but I was saying that I was picking Danny Garcia. Now, I know that kind of sounds like I'm contradicting what I just said. What I'm contradicting, or what I was just talking about, was how Amir Khan is trying to diminish Keith Thurman's accomplishments. The man is well accomplished in the ring. The man has fought some stiff competition. So why he made that statement, like Keith Thurman is going to be easy work for Danny Garcia, or Danny Garcia has fought much more, superior comp. That's what I don't get with. That's what I don't subscribe to. But what I'm saying is, Danny has, just unsuspecting power that comes out of nowhere, and I don't know if Keith is ready for that just yet. I don't know if Keith has been hit as hard. But I will say this: Danny needs maybe he has enough tune-ups in, and he can't get another one now. But coming up from 140, he is living off of the 140 legacy. I will say that, but I still give him a slight edge over Keith Thurman in this fight.
Okay, so we got 2 people picking Danny Garcia. Okay. Well, 3, including Amir Khan. So, once again,
Damn, man, I'm agreeing with Keith.
I'm not trying
Amir Khan?
No, but it's a competitive fight, though. It's a competitive fight.
Damn competitive fight.
So, I'm telling you, man, it don't surprise me that you guys are picking Danny Garcia, because I truly believe that Danny Garcia, he's the type of fighter that steps up when it comes to a threat. When it's time to, when it's time to show out, show up, he shows up. When he fought, I know it was a while ago, but when he fought against Matisse, he looked great. Once again, I always bring up this point. Zab Judah, I was really impressed the way Danny Garcia took away Zab Judah's left hand.
Yeah.
He completely took away Zab Judah's left hand, at least for the first 8 rounds, until Zab landed it, and then had Danny in some trouble, some serious trouble. But I think Danny Garcia, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think he's a lot better. He's an underrated fighter. I truly believe that.
And I'll tell you this. I was one of those people who was a detractor from Danny Garcia for a long time. Mm-hmm. I was not sold on Danny Garcia. Every time he won, I was talking about, man, he got lucky. Mm-hmm. Man, he squeezed that one out. Man, he did this. But I'm telling you, okay, I'm a believer now. I believe in the man. I believe in his talents. And I just think that too many people are overlooking, how talented this man is. One thing I will say is, though, sometimes he fights to the level of his competition.
Yeah.
And
because he didn't look that good against Vargas.
He didn't look that good against Herrera either, right?
Yeah.
Mauricio
and Lamont Peterson, but that was a better competition.
That was better comp. Mm-hmm. And I will say this too, man. I know he had been struggling trying to make that 140 for a minute, and the Herrera fight, the Peterson fight, he had to fight that at a catch weight. Even when he first came in, to tell you the truth, I was picking Paulie Malignaggi to beat him.
Were you?
Yes, I was.
To beat Danny Garcia?
I was, and I'll tell you why.
You was tripping on that one, man.
The reason why, because I saw how Paulie had been off for about, it had been over a year. Mm-hmm. And Paulie had ring rust. But one thing I knew was Paulie could get out there and just stick the jab out, avoid the big shot. But he was not on his game. I will say Paulie was far from being on his game, because I compared it to Adrian Broner. I just thought that Broner was bringing a little more hand speed, more footwork than Danny, and Paulie was able to give Adrian Broner, all kinds of problems.
But see the difference. But see the difference is, I believe that Danny Garcia is just a little bit more disciplined than Adrian Broner. He's a lot more consistent.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he's a very smart boxer, man. He's known for throwing them wild hooks and them wide ass hooks. But I'm telling you, there's method to the madness when he's putting them together. I keep saying this. I hate to sound like a broken record, but once again, when Danny Garcia, when he fought against Lamont Peterson, even though a lot of people believe that Lamont Peterson won that fight, Lamont was playing the role of the boxer, and it was actually Danny Garcia who was out jabbing. He was out countering the boxer in the first
him.
half,
Yeah.
at least in the first half of that fight.
He countered Lamont nicely.
So that's pretty much what that is, man. And I also want to talk a little bit. We're gonna talk about the Tank Davis, man, Gervonta Tank Davis stepping up against a beast, man.
Yeah.
And I say a beast. What I mean, a beast for Tank Davis at least, because he's stepping up in competition against Jose PEDRAZA. I just got caught up on PEDRAZA. I got to be honest. I hadn't watched too many of his fights. I watched a whole bunch of his fights today, and I got to know him, a lot better. So we're going to definitely talk a little bit more about that. We're also going to take some calls, as we always do. Like I said, just, sit tight. We're going to talk about some of these awards. We're going to give out some of these awards throughout the show instead of just throwing them all out at one time. Now, what I want to do real quick, I'm going to go ahead and take a phone call just real quick and see what we got. I don't know if this is because we're supposed to have some more guests calling in, but let's go ahead and take this call, see who this is. This looks like an international call. We got plus 27, area code 27 in the building. What's going on?
Hi, DBS.
What's going on?
How are you?
Hey, what's going on, man? What's your name? Where you calling from? Sound like you calling from somewhere far away.
Yes, I'm calling you guys from South Africa.
South Africa.
South Africa in the house,
Dopeness.
Baby. We
Dopeness.
South Africa, baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Our first South African
Yes.
call. I like that, man. What's going on, brother?
Yes, man. I just want to comment on the Danny Garcia versus Keith Thurman fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking Danny on that fight.
Oh, we got a fourth one. We got a fourth one. Boy, it's getting deep.
Yes.
Tell us why you picked
picked
Danny on this one.
Danny is not much, but Danny has always delivered when he's viewed as a what you call as a underdog.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, I trust he will deliver again.
Yeah. So you believe Danny has an edge because of his experience? Is that what you said?
Yeah, basically that's what I say.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was a little distracted. I took a peek at the comments over here.
And what he's saying is Danny always comes in as the underdog.
Sorry, Tony, I also believe as well. I think he faced tougher competition, in my opinion.
So you agree with Amir Khan? You when you say tougher competition, name the opponents.
I would say tougher competition. I mean, he's been around in the public eye as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
Time.
Hey, it's that type of fight, man. It's definitely that type of fight. Once again, it's a competitive matchup. I really, don't really have anything to oppose when you say that, because I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Danny Garcia, if he pulls it off. I just feel that Keith Thurman is just a little bit hungrier. I truly believe he's a little bit hungrier. But somebody get knocked out in this fight, man. Somebody is either get knocked out or get hurt real bad.
I think we can both agree on that.
And even
I don't think it's going 12 rounds.
Yeah. And even Keith Thurman himself said that. Keith Thurman, he even said that, So that's pretty much what that is, man. Hey, man, well, I want to say thanks for your call, man. Catch up with you on the next one, man. All right, so that's my man from South Africa, man. That's pretty much what that is right there.
Wow.
So, let me go ahead and switch it up, and let's go to another award that we're going to go ahead and hand out. Let me see. I'm looking at the list. I want to see which one I want to do right now. You know what? Let's go with Most Avoided Fighter of the Year, man. So, of course, the typical candidates, Kirk, Guillermo Rigondeaux, and pretty much those are the two main ones right now. Guillermo Rigondeaux, but this was a tough one, and we could flip this both ways, Milton. I gave it to Errol Spence, man. Most Avoided Fighter of the Year, Errol Spence, because Kell Brook is 100 miles and running right now. You know what I'm saying? Word up to NWA. So that right there, I'm gonna have to give it to Errol Spence on that one. Kirk, what you think, man? Who would you give it to? Most avoided fighter of the year, man.
I completely agree. You got a guy like Kell Brook that is willing to vacate his title and move up and fight arguably the hardest punching middleweight in the currently fighting, as opposed to fighting Errol Spence, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that was in essence him saying, I don't want to vacate my title. I'm going to be active. I'm going to have them buy off on this fight. So even if I lose, I still win because I make a huge payday and I still retain my 147-pound title. And so, I mean, that was a pure step aside. Now, I got to give it to Danny and Keith since they went ahead and locked this fight up coming up in March. But there are others, man, that really need to step into the ring with this guy. You know what I mean? If they really want to, they can put the package out. They can put any fight together they want to. I know that the promotion arms are, kind of get in the way of that. But if the money is right, I think that they can put whatever fight they want to put together. But he's avoided by everybody at 147 pounds.
Absolutely. And
everybody.
And just remember, once again, guys, you can see the number is on the screen. If you guys want to call in, you want to chime in, whatever you guys want to talk about, go ahead and call in, and we'll try to answer as many calls as we can within the next hour or so. All right. So we're gonna go. Let's see. I'm just looking at my list over here.
Yeah, this is.
We got some good stuff down here, y'all. We got some good stuff. Let's go with upset of the year. You have a couple candidates. Let me think, because I'm looking at who I pick right now, but I'm trying to think of who are some of the runner-ups. Milton.
Yeah.
Who was it? It was what was it? God, what was that fight? We were just talking about another upset. It was another upset earlier this year.
Yeah,
I mean, of course, you have Hopkins versus Joe Smith, which is a little bit of an upset. And there's another fight that was an upset.
Fanfara was
yeah,
one of the
that's
ones.
That's the one
We were talking about.
Joe Smith versus Fanfara.
Yeah,
they get the award. That's who I have as.
Right.
I have that as the biggest upset. But I'm just trying to think. I had one more runner-up, and I'm trying to remember who it was. But
and I know we were talking about it earlier, but I cannot remember either.
Yeah.
Was it heavyweight?
I don't remember, man. I don't remember. I'm drawing a blank. But at least we remembered who we gave the award to. I mean, that's
Let's
the
see
most
what the
important
fans are
thing.
saying. What are the fans talking about?
Yeah. You guys let me know. Like I said, every now and then I check the comment section. So if you guys can think of any more upsets of the year, once again, I give it to Joe Smith. Congratulations to Joe Smith, knocking the shit out of Fanfara. Very, very impressive performance. I mean, the reason why you would have to give it to Joe Smith is because that was the type of performance and that was the type of fight where nobody gave Joe Smith a chance. This was like a little bit, this was still a celebration, a parade, from Fanfara knocking out Chavez.
I know.
This was just he was still doing this, celebration lap.
I think that they took this as just as a showcase fight, for Fanfara. I think this wasn't, this is when, cherry picking goes wrong.
Yeah.
This is,
cherry picking goes wrong.
Yeah, when cherry picking goes wrong. This man literally took off his hard hat from work, from his real job.
And he was like, boss, can I leave 15 minutes early because I got to take care of something? You know what I'm saying? So I feel you on that.
Yeah,
I feel you on that, man.
That dude literally walked right off, like right out of the job and had to go fight. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. So we got a couple more, man. Let me go ahead and let's see here.
But I know we were talking about avoided fighters, and I know the name hasn't come up a lot lately. But what are y'all feelings on Arthur Beterbiev? Where y'all got my man at?
Arthur Beterbiev is really, really impressive. He just recently was talking about fight. He said he wanted to now fight Andre Ward, or he kind of at least brought Andre Ward's name up. But seeing him get knocked down against, some of his opponents, I don't think he's ready to step up in competition against a Kovalev or an Andre Ward. I mean, but no doubt about it, he's a beast. I think he should probably try to fight a Sullivan Barrera or someone like that. But I don't know if he's ready for the likes of
Gonzalez.
Man, I don't know where he is.
I
but
have not heard from that.
He's a good test. He's a good gatekeeper too.
Yeah, he would be.
And I hate to put him in the category as a gatekeeper. I mean, he's better than that, but still,
because that was a very close. I mean, that was a lot of people think he beat Pascal in the Pascal fight.
Yeah.
And so
Pascal, so like, what is going on with him? Do you think the Kovalev fights took too much out of him?
Oh yeah, I don't think, no doubt about it. I mean, you could look at basically the first fight, and then you compare it to the rematch. I mean, John Pascal, you can attribute that partially to Kovalev, but John Pascal, he didn't even come close to doing as well as he did in the first fight. I mean, he was kind of plodding around like a short Joe Frazier, Sonny Liston.
I tell you,
minus the bobbing and weaving.
Because and one of the factors was it was a tough fight with Kovalev in the first fight. Then he, in between those two fights, he threw in the Yuneski Gonzalez fight, and that was a hard, tough ass fight. They were trading some heavy shots. I mean, the shots that they were throwing could have dropped heavyweights that night.
Yeah,
then come back and Kovalev just worked him. Worked him bad. And I just, that took a lot out of him. That took years off of his career right there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, to answer your question, Kirk, I don't think that John Pascal is ever going to be the same again. I mean, I really like him as a fighter, and it just really sucks. But you take them kind of shots, and Kovalev, he was able to do whatever he wanted to in that fight. So, before we hand out another award, let's go ahead and take another call. Let me see who we got right here. We got area code. Here, hold on for a second. All right, we got area code 832. What's going on, man?
How you doing, Dante? What's y'all opinion on that? Oh wow! Hold on.
Hey, fam, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Absolutely.
My name's Jarvis from Houston, Texas.
Okay.
All right, Texas
What's
in the
up?
building.
Texas in the house.
Go
How
ahead.
y'all doing? What y'all think about that Garcia and Thurman?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about that. Go ahead, Milt.
Yeah, we were speaking on it, and myself and my man Kurt, and even South Africa is all about.
Shout out to South Africa.
Shout out to South Africa. My man called in a minute ago. We all kind of leaning towards Danny Garcia. I think Thurman I mean, really, I think he's the harder puncher. I don't know if we want to get into breaking it down, but for me, Thurman throws, the one shot at a time. He don't put enough combinations together for me, and I just think that Danny is going to work him. I really do. I think Danny's going to catch him off guard. I think he's really going to be surprised by Danny in this fight.
I don't know. I think when Keith Thurman needs to, he does put punches together. He showed a great jab against Porter. Actually, he was throwing a lot of combinations in the Porter fight.
He had to.
He had to.
Porter was swarming him.
He was swarming him. He had no choice. Yeah. But the whole thing. But the whole thing with Danny Garcia is going in there to try to knock out Keith Thurman. And that's why I believe Keith Thurman said, this fight is not going to go 12 rounds. Somebody is getting knocked out in this fight. So I just believe when it comes to digging deeper, Keith Thurman with his foot movement, we've seen Lamont Peterson give Danny Garcia foot movement, and Danny didn't really react to it and respond to it, well, I would say. So, I mean, with the power and the foot movement that Keith Thurman has, it'll be interesting. But at the same time, Keith Thurman is more of a person who uses foot movement and wing shot as opposed to using foot movement and setting you up with some of the most crisp,
he loves
counter punches. So
he loves that counter, not that check left hook. He loves to throw that check hook. He does.
Yeah.
But who you got, Shawty? Texas? Who you got?
Well, see, when I first heard about the fight with Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman, I feel like skill-wise, the edge is going to Keith Thurman for the footwork, like you say. I do feel like Danny Garcia's speed is very underrated.
It is.
And his timing is very underrated.
His timing is superb. Man. But go ahead.
What you say? I couldn't hear you.
I say his timing is superb. He throws.
Yep.
He perfectly times that left hook. It looked like he's winging it, or he's not looking. A
Right.
lot of people, they joke with him about him closing his eyes and throwing that prayer shot, but he knows exactly where you are, and he connects with that punch over and over.
Absolutely.
But I personally feel like the pressure. I mean, this surprising. I really feel like it's more pressure on Keith Thurman than Danny Garcia. For the simple fact.
Yeah, because he's a favorite.
Yep.
Because the
And I
pressure is
agree
always
with
on
you
the
on that.
favorite
Right.
more.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I also feel that way. At the end of the day, people can say what they want to say about Danny Garcia. He fought more people.
So you
named
agree?
people.
Okay. You agree with Amir
And-
Khan.
and-
All right.
And he no, I'm not even a Danny Garcia fan. I'm a Keith Thurman fan. That's the
Oh
crazy
no,
part.
yeah, no. This has nothing to do with what fan you are.
Right,
of.
right,
It's just
Hey, you coming in
Like
with
that Matisse.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell
man.
y'all the truth. The Matisse fight, I feel like I thought Danny Garcia was gonna lose, man.
I did
Yeah.
too.
The hell
I
out
did
of me.
too. I told you that's the one that sold me over on Danny Garcia. I said
Now
after
that
that,
Herrera fight, I feel like my personal. I think that was a 50-50 fight. So I feel like if Danny Garcia would have lost or won, I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
I can
But
go
all
with
these
that too.
other fights that he stepped up and fought, I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought he was gonna lose by like 3 or 4 of his fights, especially that Amir Khan
I did
fight.
too.
Oh, he lost that fight. I mean, if it wasn't for that knockout when he got caught, that's why that's the only person I really feel like he ain't trying to see no more.
yeah. I feel you. I
But
feel you.
that's the reason why we having that conversation earlier was because Amir Khan was saying that he thinks that Danny was going to win the fight because he fought better competition. Now I was saying that.
Well, and
What'd you say, Kirk?
Well, I was going to say, people forget Danny Garcia fought Nate Campbell, Kendall Holt.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yes.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, that's true.
Fought a lot of people.
Yeah,
You know-
he has.
Yeah, I remember the Eric Morales fight. I remember that.
I remember
Matter
that,
of fact,
yeah.
One day on the floor, maybe with an undercard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think so, yeah.
And I want to say
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So that's why I really, if I could go bet some money, I really want to bet towards Keith Thurman. But this goddamn Danny Garcia, man, this motherfucker, he like the black card. He the
He said,
fucking
"This
black card."
goddamn boy." I heard that.
Like he Dante, he's one of them type of boxers. He remind me like Arturo Gatti. He's more skilled than Arturo Gatti.
Yeah.
But Arturo Gatti won them type of fight. Oh yeah, he think it is ass whoop. And he fuck around and go up there and whoop somebody's ass.
Hey, man.
Like how?
I can
Like
see that.
why? Like how are you doing this? Like
I can
Yeah,
see
but
that
yeah.
Danny
comparison.
Garcia,
I see that comparison.
and that's how I think of it. So my homeboy, they was like, "You want to bet?" I said, "Man, I'm a betting man. But this one fight I'm not gonna bet on because Danny Garcia, he like a black horse, man.
Yeah.
Like
I-
skill wise, ain't no way he should beat Keith Thurman. Ain't no way he should beat this dude.
yeah.
But every time he step up to competition, I mean, the man gets better, and I cannot take that from that man. Hey, that boy walked through the tread.
He
That's why
did.
everybody done it for him.
I know.
Because he got a lot of holes in his game, but he keep beating
But
these people,
it's
man.
hard to exploit them. It's hard to exploit those holes in your
It's like
game,
that
though.
thing. It's like you see him on film and you see different weaknesses that you can exploit, but once you're in the ring, it's a different story.
It's a different story.
And that
Right.
also that pays to one of Garcia's skills, which is making adjustments and timing and countering what that other guy is doing. So it's
Yeah.
like if you
And
don't
you
take
know
him
what?
out in the first 2 rounds, he's gonna adjust.
Right. And I went back and looked at a lot of his fights. That's the first thing I said. I just realized. I really went back and looked at his fight. Like I told y'all earlier, go back and watch some of his fights. His timing is very underrated.
Very,
And his
very, very.
speed and his speed
Yes.
with the timing.
He is swift.
With
Yeah.
the
As
the
timing.
name
I mean,
states.
he catch you out of nowhere and shake you. In that Matisse fight, it was a close fight till he caught him.
He called
Yeah.
it.
And it was a
Absolutely.
time shot.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
It was a time shot, and they were like, whoa. Shit, Matisse started backpedaling. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I ain't never seen a backpedal like that. I said, well, damn.
And
That's why I can't bet on this fight, man. That's why I can't bet on this fight, because his timing is very underrated. And I think people look at Danny Garcia as a big name, and he got a belt, so everybody looking at chops at him.
I hear you.
But nobody don't want a piece of Keith Thurman.
I hear you.
Other than
Errol
what you think
Spence.
about Earl Spence?
I beat you. Hey, he just won. He just won the 2016 most avoided, award. So that's pretty much.
And it's crazy. Like, what's going on with this boxing world? Because I'm getting sick and tired of people running from fights. If you want to run from a fight and relinquish that belt, give that man his place. Dante, you know how many people that ran from this man?
Oh, I know.
Yes.
I
They
know.
literally making his young man career. They making his young man career hard.
Errol's.
And they doing the same thing to Rigondeaux.
Oh yeah, that's
They
why
doing
he the
the
runner-up.
same shit.
He was
And
the
they gonna
runner-up.
wait till these people get all old and
Yeah.
shit. Then they gonna want to fight him. I think that's bullshit, man. Earl Spence is something about this young man. He is special, man.
Listen, man,
He is special.
this is the reason
And that's the
why
only
Kell
fight I
Brook.
ever heard Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather don't talk about the sparring session he had personally with Earl Spence.
Listen, and
Whatever here Earl Spence showed him in that sparring session, Floyd, hey, we need to die this.
all I can tell you is I talked to the insiders and everybody in the gym. They were highly impressed when Errol Spence sparred with Floyd Mayweather. We already know what he did to Adrian Broner. Freddie Roach, he leaked that.
Yeah.
He said, I was there. He said he knocked his ass out standing up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what
But
Freddie
whatever
Roach
he
said.
did
This
to
is what
Floyd Mayweather. Whatever he did after that sparring, I want to say like a week or 2 weeks later, Floyd Mayweather was talking about Earl Spence before Earl Spence really just got known.
Yeah.
He
No,
heard him and signed that man, bro. And to me, I love boxing. I love the sport. It's so beautiful.
It's obvious.
But it's so many pay-per-view fights, Dante. It's the American people don't support our own people, man.
Well, of
and
course.
like even this Crawford fight, versus that Pacquiao wants that ridiculous money, $20 million on paper, man. That's a good fight.
of
It
course.
is.
That's a good fight.
But
that should be like a mega fight.
Oh yeah,
But
but
people treating Terry Crawford like he ain't nothing.
They know the truth about Crawford.
Oh
yeah, they know that. That's yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. They know the truth.
Well,
but I
when-
guarantee if it was somebody else, they would have promoted him differently.
Yeah, of course. You know what time it is. He on that coincidental list, and it's the opposite effect when you're on the coincidental list. The better you do, the better you look, the more you start to be hated. So it's the opposite effect when you're on that coincidental list. Hey man, but I'm gonna let you go, man, so I can take another call. Thanks for calling in. All right,
We
man.
appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, brother.
All right, take care, man.
Take care.
Something else I wanted to say before I take another call. When he was saying, "Hey, I'm not a fan. I'm not saying I'm a fan of Danny Garcia." I want people to understand in the sport of boxing, you don't have to be a fan.
Thank you.
To state facts or
Thank you.
if it is a fact, if you want to tell the truth, I look at it like this. I'm not a big fan of the rain. But if I think it's gonna rain tomorrow, I'm gonna tell you I think it's gonna rain tomorrow. That don't mean I'm a fan of rain. You feel me? So that's the problem.
Let me tell you, man. I'm
Too
on
many-
this one site, and I tell it's like if you like Mayweather and Pacquiao,
Yeah.
it's almost like you said you like boys and girls. Like what, dude? I'm like, man, how can I not like both fighters?
Oh man.
Come on, man.
You can't be no blood and Crip at the same time. That's what they're trying to tell you.
I'm like, come on, man. We got to pick side. Both of them, all-time greats, man.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you say you like Joshua and Wilder, it's like, oh my God, man.
Yeah, and that shows the division in the sport. People don't want to talk about it, but that shows you the division in the sport.
Yeah.
Because if someone because you don't hear this type of blood and Crip talk when it come to Canelo fans, Golovkin fans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You don't hear that kind of stuff.
Right.
When they defending the fighters that they like or whatever the case may be. So that's pretty much what that is. But it really is a shame.
Yeah,
though.
you gotta respect Texas on that, man. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
a lot of people they'll be a fan of one guy and they can't see their guy losing at all, or give their opponent no credit whatsoever, or But I say, hey, man, good fighting is good fighting, and all in the different styles. Everybody ain't got to fight like Floyd. Everybody ain't got to be a bruiser like somebody that just comes in and pounds another guy. So I mean, styles make fights.
Absolutely. And Kirk, man, I want to talk to you about this Brooks situation, man. We are hurting a lot of people's feelings, and it surprises me, Kirk, that so many people are still willing to defend Kell Brook, the fact that he doesn't want to fight against Errol Spence, the #1 contender. I mean, before I elaborate on that, what do you think? I don't know if I asked you this last week or not, Kirk, but what do you think about the fact that now they're talking about fighting a tune-up fight? Amir Khan and Kell Brook, they said they're thinking about a tune-up fight before they fight against each other.
Yeah,
I heard that Kell Brook, he wants to test out, his new eye socket, So, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think they'll try to do something like that, Kirk?
Oh, I can definitely see it. Look at Kell Brook's history. Aside from Gennady Golovkin and Sean Porter, who has he fought? Like he was so willing to fight as mandatories once he won the IBF belt, fighting the JoJo Dans of the world.
I know,
but
right?
Whenever Errol Spence becomes the contender, it's all of a sudden, oh well, now let me really negotiate with Amir Khan and let's set something up, or let me get this tune-up.
Yeah.
It's disgraceful.
It's real.
Be honest, like you don't want to see this man vacate your title.
And this is one. And once again, man. The decafs, why don't you guys call up? I want someone to call up and explain to me how you try to do in the comment section why it makes sense that a man who won a title, won a championship belt, is willing to give up the belt to fight a guy who just got knocked out. Please call up and explain that. Because, see, you guys are so bold, you in the comment section all day. You in the comment section all day, but they won't call in, though.
No.
They won't call in, but they'll be in the comment section doing drive-bys, all this kind of shit, and hurry up and scurry off to another channel or whatever. But they won't call in. So call in and explain to me. Try to make sense of that one. Because damn well it don't make no sense. What's up?
You know what that is?
What is it?
That's Kell Brook using his title as leverage at the time to get money. That's what he cares about. He doesn't care about being an actual world champion.
That's
to me,
plain and simple.
Yeah.
That belt. He's trying to use it as leverage to get a world title. To get big money fights. That's what the whole Golovkin issue.
Yes.
But that's when IBF. That's when IBF needs to step in, though.
They do.
That's when. And something else that's crazy, Kurt. You remember before Errol Spence's name was mentioned, what did they used to call Kell Brook? They used to call him the mandatory king. You remember that? They used to, it wasn't too long ago. They used to call him the mandatory king. Now all of a sudden, when Errol Spence is the mandatory, we don't care about the mandatory. Somebody sent me a message and they say, "Oh, come on, Dante. People don't care about belts anymore today, et cetera, et cetera." So if that is the case, why did Kell Brook fight against his other two mandatories to keep his belt? When he fought against Frankie Gavin and all of them, why did he fight them? You feel what I'm saying? It's not making any sense. Once again, if you truly believe that makes sense, call in, man. Call in and explain it. But we got some, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take another call real quick. Let's see what we got. Hold on for a second. Let's see what we got over here. All right, man. So let me see. We got area code 585. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Dante? This is Andrew calling back from last week.
That's what's up. What's going on? From where again, Andrew?
Oh, from Lions by way of Rochester.
Okay. That's good, man. What's going on, Andrew? What's on your mind?
Okay. Yo, as far as like your awards, I got like
we got to get back to that. Go ahead.
Bitch of the year. I say that to Donna Stevenson.
He said bitch of the year. Oh man. Boy, we handing out some serious awards tonight. God damn. Okay, go ahead.
And the thing about it was, like, I was a fan of him until it just seemed like he would just run his mouth more than actually fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'll fight this guy, but then it's like, okay, no fight. And it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I just, I mean, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you believe him when because he's been talking a lot recently. He said Andre Ward ain't the best until he fights me. He said he wanted the winner of, Kovalev versus Ward. Do you believe him when he says these things, or you think he's just talking?
Man, I don't believe the president. I'm a little over 30. When he talks, and that's all of them. I'm sorry. No.
He said no. No. Yeah. And if that is the case, that's a shame, man. Let me just ask you this: How do you think Adonis fares against Kovalev or Andre Ward?
Well, is it too harsh to say that his ass gets handed by both of them?
Yeah, I mean,
that's not too harsh.
yeah, I mean, it's a fair assessment. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I truly believe I've always picked Kovalev. I mean, yeah, I don't think he beats Andre Ward, so I agree with you. I think both of them will probably beat him, but the Kovalev one is kind of tricky to me. I don't know. If I had to lean to someone, I probably would lean towards Kovalev. I was impressed with Adonis after the Tommy Top Dog Williams fight, though, because when he showed he could fight on the inside, because I've always said that Adonis is like a blown up Manny Pacquiao. He focuses only on throwing the left hand. He doesn't really have an inside game. He proved to me he had a really tough inside game, an impressive inside game. And not only that, but he took some hellacious shots against a hard puncher. But now that I see that Kovalev is not going to allow you to fight on the inside because he'll tie you up. So, he pretty much took away Andre Ward's inside game.
Yeah, he nullified
so,
a lot of Dre's game on the inside.
Absolutely. So if he can take away, Ward's, he can definitely do the same thing with Adonis Stevens, man. So, yeah, man. I kind of agree with you, for the most part, man.
Like, I think, like I said, I believe both Ward and Kovalev both beat Stevenson. And, like, Stevenson's lucky he got the 10th? It was either the 9th or 10th round with Fonfara, right?
Yeah.
When he got dropped.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he dug deep in that fight too, though. I mean, he showed me something in that fight too because he looked extremely vulnerable in that fight, getting knocked down. And Fonfara was actually he was kind of out slicking Adonis a little bit in that first half until he knocked him down. And once again, the fact that Adonis, rallied back, he showed me a little something. But you can look at it two ways. You can look at that as a flaw as well.
Yeah, but then it's like Stevenson, what Stevenson as well is a better BF. That's another guy.
Yeah.
Even with nine fights, I still think better BF would beat him.
Yeah.
Possibly knock him out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully
I'm big on better BF myself too.
Yeah.
I'm huge on that.
Yeah.
I think he's a beast.
The upside on him is tremendous.
Times he has.
I think he's a beast. I wouldn't say he's as good as Kovalev or Ward right now until I see him get in there.
He's got a little bit to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like a tier below those guys.
Just
like
a shot below.
Yeah.
I think,
but very impressive. But
one
very
thing
impressive.
I will say is I think what slowed him down a little bit is he was off for a year after that shoulder surgery. He was inactive for a while, and I think he's just working his way back into his groove. But he just had a recent first round knockout of a very tough opponent. The opponent is slipping my mind right now, but the guy is really tough, man.
Who are you talking about again?
Better BF. Last month he had a first round knockout.
You know what? I missed his last fight.
Yeah, it was impressive.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Really impressive. Durable guy.
I know he knocked out. Was it Tavoris Cloud?
Yeah,
did he knock him out?
Yeah, he knocked him out like his fourth or fifth fight.
That was a very impressive win.
Yeah,
that was a very impressive
fourth or
win.
Fifth fight, but it was recently he just.
I think the dude out from Spain. I think he knocked him out in 2 rounds.
Yeah,
and he had fought Tavoris Cloud as well.
Oh, Gabriel Campillo, I think his name was.
Well,
you might be right.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man. Eventually, I think it's coming real close. 2017 probably is going to be a big year for Arthur Beterbiev, and hopefully he gets in the ring with one of these guys, either Ward, Adonis, or Kovalev, or like some of the gatekeepers we were talking about, as well, So
on the 23rd, it was Isidro Prieto, and Prieto, man, and it was a hellacious knockout, man. He dropped him and then he came back and knocked him and cleaned him out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, durable guy.
Like my dad is a big box fan. I mean, like old school guy. Like he was telling me about dudes back in the freaking 40s and the 50s. And how do you think these guys would rate today? Like y'all familiar with Henry Armstrong at all?
Oh, of course, of course.
Right,
one of the greats. Yeah, no doubt about it.
And obviously. Like Sugar Ray Robinson, guys like that.
Oh yeah,
and he was telling me about dudes like this.
And you know what?
Like these guys you should follow because of the way that they fought. They fought on a regular basis. They weren't taking like shit. They would fight every month.
Yeah. They fight every week.
Yeah.
They were literally fighting every week. But Henry Armstrong, man, moving up in so many weight classes, and the fact that they didn't have all of these in between weight classes that they have now.
Right.
You know, you had to make a serious jump up in weight. And Henry Armstrong, he was able to do that, you know, and win titles in multiple weight classes. So very impressive. But you know, we're gonna talk more. We're gonna dedicate a show, you know, to some of the historians one of these days, so we can really delve deep into that. Oh yeah, we're gonna definitely do that. Hey man, but I'm gonna let you go, man. But thanks for the call, brother. All right.
All right. Good night.
All
Good
right,
night.
man. Take care, man. So yeah, man, he has some interesting points. Talking about Adonis Stevenson. Did you want to say something on that, Kirk? Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, even though people may be displeased with his opponent's selection, I mean, you know, there's politics in the sport.
Of course.
I think you know, we can favor Kovalev or Ward, but I do think he would give either guy a really tough fight.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree with you.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, it's up in the air for me. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, if he was able to, you know, beat Kovalev. I mean, he did beat Kovalev how many times? Once in the amateurs, or was it? I know he beat Kovalev in the amateurs, right?
And I do not recall.
I'm talking about Better Biev. You was talking about Better Biev, right? Or were you talking about Better Biev, Kirk, or were you talking about somebody else?
I was talking about Adonis Stevenson.
Yeah, he was talking about
see,
Stevenson.
that's what I thought. I thought you were talking about Adonis, and then at the last second, I thought you were talking about Better Biev.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Better Biev did get Kovalev in the amateurs.
Listen,
though.
there's definitely politics. You know, I wouldn't agree with my man when he's talking about he's the bitch of the year. I mean, I could definitely give that to some other cats, but I mean, the thing is, we have to remember Adonis Stevenson. You know, he was negotiating and trying to get a fight with Kovalev. You know, they were willing to do the purse bid. It was Kovalev's people that pulled out of the purse bid because, you know, they didn't want to have to fight on Showtime. And not only that, but, you know, to make it even worse for Kovalev is his contract had already came up. It had already expired. So he had an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to take this fight against Adonis, just this one fight, and get it out the way, and then after I fight him, I'll go back to HBO. And Kovalev, he didn't do that. So, you know, you can't necessarily say that, you know, Adonis, you know, he's been completely ducking Sergey Kovalev, you know. So, I mean, but speaking of that, let's go ahead and get back to the awards we handing out, man. So we're going to do 2 back-to-back, man. Let's go with Prospect of the Year, man. Prospect of the Year is a big one. And, you know, I like to base this, obviously, on the fighter that I feel can go the furthest in the sport. The fighter who has the potential to become, pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. And, you know, last year I gave it to Erickson Lubin, the Hammer Erickson Lubin, a monster. That dude is like, he's like an Errol Spence at 154. You know, I done seen this man knocking out undefeated prospects, real tough fighters when he only had like 10 fights. We watched him live out there in Alabama on the Deontay Wilder card. And he fought a tough Mexican, real good Mexican fighter who had like about 30 plus fights. I think like one loss or something, 1 or 2 losses. And Errol's and I'm calling him Errol.
Yeah.
And the Hammer, he walked through him, knocked him out. Tough, durable fighter with a great chin. He walked through him, knocked him out. So that was last year. So let's go ahead and talk about this year. I'm giving this to Jarrett Hurd.
Jarrett Hurd.
Congratulations to Jarrett Hurd, Prospect of the Year 2016. The reason why I'm giving him this award, his impressive victory that he had over U.S. Olympian, undefeated U.S. Olympian Oscar Molina. You know, for those of you guys who don't know, the Molina twins, Javier and Oscar, they both went to the Olympics. One represented Mexico, the other one represented USA. And I was just telling you were, you know, you're going to speak on this, Milton, but you was telling me last week, you know, you really like what you see with this kid, Jarrett Hurd. You brought his name up, and I thought that was interesting. But and I told you, I was really impressed with the fact that Jarrett Hurd, who only got like about 20 amateur fights, he's in there dominating, a U.S. Olympian with like 300 amateur fights, and Molina. So that was really.
And I tell you, you know, he's getting ready. I think he has a fight coming up with. is it Tony Harrison? I believe it is.
Is it Tony Harrison?
I want to say yes. I want
You
to
know,
say it's Tony Harrison.
and my bad, I need to look that up. If you guys know in the comment section, you know, go ahead and let us know. I'll take a peek at that.
I believe it is Tony Harrison, man. And you know, I'm thinking, you know, of course I'm going with Hurd in this one, but I mean, it's because Harrison, I think he is more skilled. And I think he's a little bit quicker.
That's a good step up in competition, man.
It is.
That's a
It
huge
really
step
is.
up in competition.
I was saying that.
Well, I won't say
this
huge,
is
but
the
it's a
thing,
step
though.
up.
This, if he beats him like I think that he can, I think he goes immediately out of the prospect range into a full-fledged contender.
Oh, no doubt
he
about
moves
it.
into the contender category. I mean, he just needs that one. You know, he's impressed me, you know, so far. But I mean, if he wins this fight like I think he will, he moves immediately into contention for looking for a title at some point. You know what I mean? In the very near future.
And I'll tell
And
you,
the 154 class is
man, that's like some 154 is starting to look like the 80s. Like it's starting to look like Hagler, Hearns, and you know, and Leonard. Because right now, I mean, Andrade, Charlo, and then you got Erickson Lubin, and Jared Hurd on the rise right now.
Yeah.
Man, that is a tough.
Julian Williams, he's still in
and Julian
he's
Williams.
still in that. Yeah, thank you, Kurt.
I mean,
thank you, Kurt.
I was hoping Canelo, you know, would, you know, get suckered in and say, oh well, he got knocked out. Maybe this is my chance. You know what I mean?
Check
but
this out.
he ain't. But even with that boy
It's
on the
so
ground, Canelo
packed.
don't want to do
It's
that.
so packed. We mentioned him last.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, oh
and
my
he
God.
was doing good in the fight. He was actually.
Yeah.
It was a competitive fight. It wasn't like you know, Jamal just dog walked him, right?
Right.
So I think he can come back because it was just, you know, it was the couple knockdowns, but he wasn't sustaining a whole bunch of punishment.
He wasn't. And
you know,
he. Let me tell you. I mean, before anybody thinks that I'm trying to take anything away from Charlo, man, get that out of your mind because that uppercut, perfectly timed. He sat on that punch. He rolled and countered with that uppercut so beautifully. Beautifully, man.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was pure skill.
Yeah,
It wasn't
man.
no lucky punch. It wasn't none of that.
No.
You can't call it anything
No.
but pure skill.
No.
And so, but one thing about it, J-Rock stayed in the pocket too long. He lingered in there and he tried to trade with him. And I think that he should have just boxed because he was catching him with some good shots. He was when he was boxing and moving.
Absolutely.
But man,
absolutely,
he sat on that punch and tried to reach. He got caught.
Yep. We're gonna go ahead and take another call. We got here. Let me get it ready. We got area code 303. What's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas?
What's
This is Smitty. I'm calling from Denver, Colorado.
All right, Colorado in the building. What's good with you, man? What's on your mind?
I got a couple of topics. I was listening to the show. Initially, the first thing I wanted to touch on was the Garcia Thurman fight. Now, when the fight was first announced, I'm a big Keith Thurman fan. I really liked him for the past 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. But the thing that I think is going to hurt him is his inactivity. I wanted to know what y'all thought about that.
Danny Garcia's
Garcia
inactivity?
does have a great resume. No, Keith Thurman's inactivity because he's only had that Sean Porter fight. If you really want to know, that's probably his last fight within the last year and a half.
I'll say this.
No, it was this year, but it was this year, right?
It was this year. It was
earlier
but it
was
this
it was.
But then
earlier in the year
he
too.
hasn't been in the ring before that, and with besides the Colazo fight, which was June of 2015. So it's been about a year and a half, almost, with just 1 or 2 fights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying.
A year is what he's basically averaging.
I can see that, and because it's going to be close to a year by the time he gets ready to fight. It's going to be somewhere very close to a year in between his last fight and this fight. And I will say this though, it's unfortunate though. I think that a lot of Al Heyman and what's the promotion arm?
Bob Arum.
No.
The other guys, or are you talking about
Floyd and Al Heyman? The Money Mayweather promotions.
Okay.
It's a lot of their fighters only fought once this past year. It's not just Keith Thurman, but
Jack.
there's a lot of those other fighters from the other promotion arms only fought one solid fight this year, and
I don't think
it was just spatterings in there, man.
Yeah,
So
I don't think it's going to affect Keith Thurman that much. I remember I think people were kind of talking about this when it came to him getting into the car accident before the Porter fight, because that fight was it was pushed back as well. Kirk Jackson, what do you think, man? You think that'll affect him, the layoff, or what? Will it make a difference at all, or what?
I think he'll be all right, but I do think Danny's activity benefits him more, even if he's fighting lesser opposition.
Yes.
Recently, his last fight.
A slight edge. Yeah. I mean, me personally, I don't think, it's going to affect, Keith Thurman at all. I think once punches start flying, he going to go back to when he was 8 years old. I mean, I don't think, we're going to have to worry about that with Keith Thurman. But once again,
probably needed some time off.
Yeah, it's still a very, very close competitive fight. But what was your next question, fam?
Yeah, second I wanted to bring up is with this whole Pacquiao news, him wanting $20 million to fight Crawford, and like y'all touched on the Kell Brook situation and how you had mentioned the Canelo situation, kind of dodging you guys at 154.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember an era when guys just kind of blatantly, openly dodged other fighters like what we have going on now?
Yeah,
unheard of back in the day.
It's. I mean, well, and honestly, I have to say we have to also remember back in the day, social media wasn't around. So it's a lot more easier, to find out what's going on. If Gamboa is sending a tweet to Mikey Garcia and whatever the case may be, we see everything today. Back then, it was really just word of mouth. You wouldn't have really heard it because, like I said, the black murderers row. Those guys, they were the most avoided back then. And like I always tell people, some of the greatest fighters avoided the whole black murderers row. From Henry Armstrong, like, my man was bringing up, to Sugar Ray Robinson and even Jake LaMotta, so I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's some serious ducking going on, but it's more publicized today, than it was back then. There's always been guys saying to themselves, do I want to get my ass kicked by this dude, or fight that dude that I know I can beat, and keep winning, but at the same time, I mean, I slightly agree with you partially because I truly believe maybe back then, and this is just maybe because I wasn't living back then, but maybe back then it was more forgivable to lose. You know what I mean?
I will say this: it was because the thing is that you didn't have as many different governing sanctioning bodies. You didn't have as many different titles. At one point, there may have been one or two straps that were at each weight class or weight division, but you didn't have 4-5 different belts lingering around.
Absolutely.
I mean?
Excellent point.
If you got a strap, you can sit there and nurse it.
Good point, Milton. Good point. It's very easy to sidestep people when you have so many belts because, like you said, if there's 4 belts in each division, you could easily say, I'm not going to fight that champion. If I just go get the WBA belt, ain't nobody going to complain because I won a belt. You know what I mean? Right. So you're right when it comes to that. So, so if we're comparing, to what's going on today to back then, yeah, there's definitely there's easier ways to avoid tough competition than back in the day. So yeah, I feel you, man. But see, this is what needs to be done, man. See what exacerbates the situation when it comes to everybody ducking today is the fans. The fans can do something about this, but see, when the fans, they encourage fighters to duck. Like when Manny Pacquiao doesn't want to fight Crawford, even his own promoter wants to fight, then you got all these fans say, oh, fuck Crawford. Manny doesn't need to fight him, et cetera, et cetera. You got Kell Brook, who's willing to give up his damn title to avoid his number one contender. And you got fans saying, oh, this is some bullshit. He doesn't need to fight his number one contender. Give up the belt and fight, Amir Khan. This is what really hurts the situation.
It really
if
does.
Everyone would stand together and say, we ain't going to take it, and demand that these guys, fight the best competition. That's how we get these kind of fights. That's how we got Canelo versus Lara.
Not everybody has their hope insurance.
Oh, you know what time it is. You know what time it is.
About with the whole situation though is like
and
this
that,
whole Earl Spence situation. I don't want him to have to be forced to move up to 154 to get his respect.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody giving him his title shot unless he has a belt. And how's he gonna get that belt?
Well,
they allow Kell Brooks to keep dodging him.
Well, one,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
I feel you, but I think in Errol Spence's situation, I think he's closing in on the belts. Like right now, I heard he's like number 2 ranked for the WBC belt, which is Danny Garcia's belt. I heard that he may get the winner of that fight. But what I'm trying to say is right now, the fighters that were making excuses, they're running out of excuses now because they can no longer say certain things like, oh, he ain't fought nobody. Oh, he needs more experience. Oh, he's green. They can't say these things anymore because he's closing in. So, it's going to eventually make, the other champions in the division look bad if they duck him or if he forces all of them to vacate. That's what I would do if I was Errol Spence.
Right.
I would force all of them to hand their belt over. Here you go. You can have it, Errol Spence. If he get all of them to do that, then that's going to make them look even worse. So I feel you, though. I don't think that Errol Spence, he should say, oh, well, nobody won't fight me, so let me move up to 154. Oh, nobody fight me here. Let me move up to 160. No, I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, I want to say
I don't want him to. I don't want him to do that. Before I go, fellas, I don't want him to do that because I want him to get his respect, man. And he shouldn't feel rushed or pressured by these guys ducking. He needs to continue to do what he's doing and be patient. Time will come.
He's doing the right thing. He's doing the right thing. You have to keep winning. You got to keep banging on the door. You know what I mean? So that's it. And so he's doing the right thing, man. Well, on that note, you talked about, the Hope Insurance. That brings us to our next award, man. So we gonna give out we gonna give out the Hope Fighter of the Year. Yeah, the Hope Fighter of the Year.
Who you got, bro?
And for people,
you want my nomination?
Who's your nominees, man? Who you picking?
Whoa! I'm not giving nominees. I'm just handing the award.
No, hand it out. Hand it out.
I mean, if anybody else would have had Dominic Wade and a welterweight on their resume, I think they would have got killed.
Hey man, you can't be. Hey man, you can't be handing out my awards before I hand them out, man.
Hey man, let me tell you something. It's right there. He got the name written out. You didn't say the name.
Yeah,
but it's right there.
He say the name before I can say the name.
And I'm telling you, I will tell you this. I like the dude. I really do. But
I like him too.
He got to get the award.
He got to get. Listen, and for people that don't understand, what the hope, of the Hope Fighter of the Year is, that's basically the fighter that the decafs, which is the majority of boxing fans, because you guys have to understand, the majority of boxing fans are decafs. The majority of boxing fans are casual fans, right? And they're led by grand wizards like Jim Lampley and Dan Raphael, right? So those are the grand the grand wizards of the decafs, right?
Yeah, man, I know.
But anyway, so the Hope Fighter is that fighter that these people, they hope, they don't care, they get on their knees and they hope that this guy right here in particular, will be better and will, he'll be considered the Muhammad Ali, et cetera, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with them doing that, but that's the reason why he gets the award, because this is the guy that they are hoping for. So congratulations to Gennady Golovkin. Hopefully one day I can give Golovkin the Fighter of the Year or something like that. But of course, he has to step up in competition.
I'll ask you this.
And Milton is a big fan of Golovkin, so I'm just letting y'all know.
I am, but he gets the award.
Mike a little bit.
Oh, my bad. I am, but he gets the award.
He's not biased. He's calling it down the middle.
I'm calling it right down the middle.
Yeah.
And you got a welterweight. Like, I'm a big Terrence Crawford fan. If Terrence Crawford fought Chocolate Cheeto and he fought the 25th ranked fighter at 140, I would not defend that. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Like, I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right? But,
yeah.
I mean, when you say it like that.
Here, fellas, I appreciate y'all taking my time, man.
Hey, for sure, man.
I'm a big fan. keep doing what you're doing. Y'all fellas have a good night, man.
Hey, you too, brother.
Yep, you too, man. So so that's pretty much what that is, man. So anyway, let me go ahead.
I will say this though. I will say this, and this is in defense of Golovkin. If I can get some, what does he have to do, and who would he have to beat in order to satisfy his critics?
And you know what? I believe it does start. It starts with Danny Jacobs. I think that's a
great start.
That's a step in the right direction. The fact,
but I can already hear it now. Mm-hmm. I can already hear it now. Mm-hmm. Danny's already been knocked out once.
Yeah. He's already been.
And that was a few years ago. And the man has much improved since then.
Let me ask you this
then,
though. Go ahead.
And then on top of that, he got caught coming in sloppy against Sergio Mora. So his chin is looking suspect. So if he gets knocked out by Golovkin, then that's not good enough for the people. Mm-hmm. Even though I think Danny's a hell of a fighter, man, and can win this fight if he fights the perfect fight. It got to be the perfect fight.
Yeah.
It can't. He got to come in there with the perfect game plan.
You talking about? I got a little distracted. I was looking at. I took a peek at the comments right here, but you said that you believe he has a chance against Canelo, or is that who you said?
That's
I got distracted. Go ahead.
Danny Jacobs has a chance against.
Against Golovkin.
Against Golovkin.
Got you.
He does have a chance, but he has to. It has to be the perfect fight. Canelo can win, and it doesn't. Canelo has a chance against Golovkin, and it doesn't have to necessarily be the perfect fight. Yeah. Danny has to fight that perfect fight.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And once again, let me go back to what I was saying when I say this is a step in the right direction. And you said, but yeah, he's been knocked out. He's been knocked out before. A lot of people, even the biggest Golovkin fans, they're saying, "Oh, I don't give Jacobs any chance because he's been knocked down by Sergio Mora. He's been knocked out, et cetera, et cetera." Like you said, that was a long time ago. I believe that a win like this, it puts him in a position to be respected more, no doubt about it. But still, he has to get somewhat of a Thurman Garcia, Mayweather Corrales, Pernell Whitaker, Julio Cesar Chavez. He has to get in a fight like that. In order for him to do that, it's going to have to be against someone who's either undefeated and they're looked at the same way kind of he is. The problem with Canelo Alvarez, that kind of helps a little bit, but just the fact he's moving up in weight, Golovkin is not going to be catapulted to like pound for pound top 3 status. It would have to be someone who we really feel challenges him to where it's not looked at as an 8-1 underdog.
Do you think he has to move up to 168 in order to get any respect at all? What do you think, Kurt?
I think too. Go ahead, Kurt. Yeah, answer that, Kurt.
I was gonna say just because how old is he now? He's 34, going to be 35 in April.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good point. He's getting older.
And arguably the best guy in his resume is a welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
So, If let's say if it's Floyd Mayweather, for example, and if they switch resumes, Floyd's getting murdered. But with Golovkin, I think a lot of fans or some of the writers or whoever it is are displeased just from the fact that he's rated so highly pound for pound and he hasn't really done anything. And I think Danny Jacobs, that's a great start. I'd even like to see him fight Andy Lee or somebody, but eventually a move to 168. I think he needs to fight a James Degale, for instance. So,
I think
obviously I would have loved to see him fight Ward, but that's not going to happen.
I think the opponents that would really help him catapult his career, obviously, it would be people like Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev. What's funny is with me, and this is why I love the fact that I get to interview these fighters, because it's not just coming from me. It's a difference hearing people say stuff on the internet, just basing it on their personal emotion. But when you go out and you talk to professional boxers and trainers, they don't have an agenda. So, they're giving it to you raw. And they, so when you hear them say stuff like, I want to see Golovkin fight either Sergey Kovalev or Andre Ward. Do you guys know how many professional fighters and trainers I've heard say that? And what's interesting is a lot of times I don't even mention, Ward or Kovalev. They just bring it up. It's like Golovkin's name is almost synonymous now with Ward or Sergey Kovalev. I mean, from Teddy Atlas,
But the thing is,
Ayala,
when
Paulie
people
Ayala.
say that, I mean, jumping up from 160 to 175, that's a huge leap in weight.
But when your trainer is and your fighter, when your trainer is telling the public that Golovkin knocks out cruiserweights in sparring, he's never moved up in weight not one time. I was there. I actually
Just
got
because
to witness.
he said that.
No.
Trainers say a lot of stuff in
No. I witnessed it. I'm saying that Abel said it, but I was there at Big Bear. I witnessed Golovkin sparring a cruiserweight. He knocked this dude down about 6 times, and every time the dude went down, this big ass man looked like he was on the ground crying. You know what I mean? So, and this was when Golovkin had just got back into training. Right? So we know he has the power. The thing is, if Floyd Mayweather, who fans say is feather-fisted and has no power.
Oh, come on, man.
If Floyd Mayweather can move up 5 weight classes, if Manny Pacquiao can move up 8 weight classes.
If you were to say, hey, if he goes to 168, weed out everybody at 168, then move up to 175.
You're right.
But to just go from 160 to 175.
But it's been done so many times before. Mosley did it. Mosley jumped up from lightweight to welterweight to fight Oscar De La Hoya when De La Hoya was top 3 pound for pound, the best fighter in the world. Of course, Duran did it. Duran, he moved up 2 weight classes
did it.
to fight against Sugar Ray Leonard.
But I was going to ask, is that the juice?
But Milton, we talking about one of the hardest punchers in the division. We're not talking about a guy who punches like Mayweather at welterweight.
I'll ask you this, though. Ask you this.
Huh?
Who else has been asked of that you jump 2 weight classes in order to prove yourself?
Well, see, the thing is, if you already have significant competition in your division, you're not going to be asked that. Like, for example, no one's going to ask Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia to move up because they already have opponents that can propel their career.
Right.
Golovkin doesn't have that. So he has to find it elsewhere.
I'm hoping that he moves to 168, but I don't see him jumping to 175.
They asked Floyd to move to middleweight to fight Golovkin.
They sure did.
Yeah, that's some. No, come on, Kurt. You know there's some people that don't understand.
They also asked Broner to move up in weight when Broner
y'all
was
say
fighting.
who y'all talking about?
We talking about the majority.
Casual ass.
But the casual fans are the ones that's defending Golovkin the majority of the time.
We can't believe.
You know what I mean?
We can't.
Well, you can't say that because. What's that?
I think what hurts Golovkin is his trainer. His trainer saying that, well, he's sitting here dropping Kovalev and beating these cruiserweights. I mean, okay, well, if he's doing that to Kovalev and these cruiserweights, why isn't he moving to 175 to fight?
Yeah,
or whoever?
You're right. That's the point I'm making. You can't tell the public. Matter of fact, Abel has said it on numerous occasions. In my own interview that I did with him, he said eventually Golovkin's going to have to move up to 175 because he's knocking out cruiserweights and sparring right now. He said that like that was before the Martin Murray fight when he told me that. That was how long ago was the Martin Murray fight?
About
like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So he said eventually. So my thing, you look, once again, I've always said this. Golovkin doesn't have to do a damn thing. He could stay at middleweight for the rest of his career. But the bottom line is if he does not have the competition, then he's not going to be looked at as a serious pound-for-pound opponent. Think about this for a second. When Adrian Broner was at 135, imagine if Adrian just stayed at 135. He could have dominated that division. He would have probably still been undefeated today.
His body was still developing.
Well,
I think once you get to a certain age and you wait out, when you get to it.
That is partially true. He could have stayed at 140.
He could have stayed at possibly if he wanted to train properly.
He could have stayed at 140. That's why he moved back down to 140.
And he should have.
The point that
he
I'm
didn't
making,
bring his power up with him.
The point that I'm making though is when Broner was at 135, fans were saying, "Why don't you move up? Why don't you fight? Why don't you fight somebody at welterweight, et cetera, et cetera." So this is all I'm saying.
I never said that.
You have to find that Ali, that Joe Frazier, that Hagler, that Hearns. You got to find that synonymous opponent that people remember you by. When people think of Sugar Ray Leonard, they think of who? Hagler, Hearns, Duran, and all of them, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. And I often hear people say, well, Marvin Hagler, he didn't have to move up. He stayed, or Bernard Hopkins, they didn't have to move up. They stayed at middle. But Bernard Hopkins, he had Trinidad. He had
Trinidad
Oscar
came
De La Hoya.
up. De La Hoya came up.
Yeah, but they were but
They
Trinidad was the
came up.
favorite. But Trinidad was the favorite.
I know, but
Trinidad
the
was
thing
the
is,
favorite
though,
to beat him.
the thing is, they're the ones that came up. He didn't move.
Yeah, but so that's. But what I'm saying is, so if this is the point. So if Golovkin gets, great fighters to move up, then he doesn't have to move up. If he gets people like Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, for fighters like them to move up, and he were to beat those guys, then that right there would catapult his career. That no doubt about it. You
think so?
Oh, no doubt about it.
You don't think that people be like, oh man, they were smaller guys coming up to
No,
160?
because
You think they'll give him credit for that?
Like I just said about Trinidad. Trinidad was the favorite. People thought that Trinidad was going to kill Hopkins.
I remember it like it was last week.
And I ain't going to even
I
front.
had people asking me, who is Bernard Hopkins?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. They thought, and I'm not going to lie, I thought Trinidad was going to beat him too, because I remember Trinidad had just beat the shit out of William Joppy.
All the way. I remember that too.
And William Joppy was a beast.
Yeah, he was.
And I couldn't believe what he did to William Joppy. So my point is, once again, it depends on who's moving up. If Guillermo Rigondeaux, moved up to fight a bigger guy, you telling me you're not going to get credit for beating a smaller Guillermo Rigo? You're going to get a whole lot of credit.
You get a lot of credit for
You're going to get a whole lot of when Floyd Mayweather fought against Canelo, Canelo was the naturally bigger guy. You know what I'm saying? So if Canelo would have beat Floyd, you know what kind of credit he would have got, despite being 15 pounds bigger than Floyd. They want him to fight.
That's true.
That's why they want him to fight Golovkin. They don't care that Golovkin is too big.
They just want
to see him lose.
Yeah, I know.
So to answer the question, I believe that Golovkin will get credit. If he were to knock out even Lara, because once again, you get to compare notes. You know what I mean? You get to compare, how does Golovkin do against Lara compared to how Canelo did. You know what I mean? If Golovkin knocked out Lara, who has never been knocked out before, how impressive that would be?
That would be impressive.
And
but you know how much he'll get paid for that?
Well, no, he'll get paid big.
He won't get paid for that.
Against Lara, you know how much Lara gets paid? Lara gets paid like $1 million a fight right now.
I know, but that's
and Golovkin does too.
Golovkin is looking for some big payday. What's that, Kirk?
He'll make more than he did fighting Wade.
Guaranteed.
I don't know. It'd be about the same.
What you mean?
I think
Are you serious?
Yes,
bro.
Yes, man.
Canelo fought Lara on pay-per-view, and they generated some of the best numbers Canelo ever did.
Cause it's Canelo,
huh?
Because it's Canelo. Every time anybody fought Floyd,
no.
Anytime somebody fought Floyd, it's the best numbers they ever did.
No, when Canelo fought other opponents, he didn't do the type of numbers that he did against Edeslani. You got to. Hey Milton, you got to understand this and realize this, bro. Fighters that are disliked, people come together to root against them. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So what that basically means is, when it comes, if you don't like Edeslani Lara, you can't stand him, you want to see him get knocked out, everybody gonna come together to watch Golovkin beat that guy. We've seen this even when Golovkin fought Willie Monroe. Nobody knew who Willie Monroe was. Man, that crowd was so hyped and amped. And I'm gonna be real with you. A lot of fans, they wanted to see him beat a brother. You know what I mean? Because I had fans walking by me when I was doing interviews afterwards. They was like, I had fans walk by and they were like, he fucked that nigga up. And
Come on.
I BS you not.
Come on.
I BS you not.
Are you serious?
Dude.
I don't doubt you, man. I don't doubt you.
I mean, you could just look at the numbers. When Golovkin fought against Willie Monroe, that crowd was so hyped and amped. You know what I mean? So the point, once again, I'm making is, even with Donaire, you go to Donaire, they say Rigo is boring, et cetera, et cetera. But when did Donaire do his best numbers? He did it when he fought against Rigo.
Yeah.
The boring fighter. You know what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather, the most boring fighter ever. But whenever you fight Floyd Mayweather, everybody watches, right? So all I'm saying is, if he fought against Edeslani Lara, I can guarantee you it would do better numbers than the Lemieux fight. Even if it was on pay-per-view. You remember what numbers the Lemieux fight did, right?
That wasn't was it pay-per-view?
It was pay-per-view.
I think it did
Golovkin versus Lemieux.
Yeah. Like 150,000, I think it was.
Yeah. It did 97 to 100, something like
was
that.
It?
Yeah, so That's so that's my whole point though. I mean, if once again if Golovkin can fight some guys like that, it would be it would really help his career. But anyway, we have a whole bunch of people on hold for a while.
505, is that the ABQ?
Yeah, let's see what it is, man. We got 505 online. What's going on, man?
Is that the Kirky?
Hey, man. Man, I thought you'd never kiss me, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, Milton trying to extend the show over here, man.
My bad.
No,
Yeah,
I'm messing with you. It's all good. Go ahead, brother. Where you calling from? What's your name?
It's cool, man. Hey, listen, man. I always thought the most competitive division was the welterweight division, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
it has the most former world champions in the division right now.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's still fighting.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Who do you guys think is the future of welterweight? I just want to hear your opinion.
Errol Spence, man.
Errol Spence Jr.
I don't see.
Yes.
I don't see anybody beating Errol Spence, man. I don't see anybody beating Errol Spence. But
what do you think about the champions? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, okay. What do you think about the champions now, man?
Which ones? You mean all of them?
At 140.
All of them.
Man, that's a long conversation right there, man.
147. At 147.
At 147?
Okay. I mean, well, right now, I mean, Thurman versus Garcia is going to tell us a lot. And so that's why I can't wait to see this fight. When we see who wins that fight, it's going to really tell us a lot about the other welterweights, not named Errol Spence. So, I mean, whoever wins that fight, obviously, is probably, top three, the best welterweight. I mean, there's not a whole lot of big names up there, right, Milt? Or Kirk, we haven't heard from you in a minute, Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? What does it really symbolize or mean if when we get the winner of Thurman versus Garcia?
It's definitely going to change the landscape, and the person who wins they won't become like the sole ruler of the division, obviously, but they'll be in a position where they're calling shots, because we got to also remember we still got guys like Tim Bradley who's out there. We got Manny Pacquiao who's out there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Absolutely.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
and I won't leave my man Jesse Vargas out of it either. I mean, Jesse's a young fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to add a couple more wrinkles to his game. I love what him and Dewey are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse's still out there too. So, and I'm a huge fan of that young man. So,
yeah.
I'd like to see him get back up there to the top. I was very impressed by him when he over Ali, and Ali is still out there too, man. I mean, he's looking hungrier in his last fight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 147 is packed. But the top tier is only maybe 3-4 guys, and I say 4: Danny, Keith, Brooke, and Spence, and those are the top 4 in the welterweight division right now, and all of them are ducking Spence.
Absolutely, man. So, hey, man, but thanks for your call. I appreciate it, man. Take care, all right, man?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, but I didn't even get my opinion. I just want to say,
go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I really just want to know how Dante felt. Sorry about everybody else.
No. It's all good. Well, like I said, man, Errol Spence. I mean, to really sum it up, I really don't see anybody beating Errol Spence. I still believe that Kell Brook, regardless, even though he got knocked out by Golovkin and he does not want to fight Errol Spence at all, I still believe that Kell Brook would give Errol Spence his toughest fight.
All right, so let me get my 2 cents in before I get off.
Go ahead.
Some callers in. In my opinion, Errol Spence is a good fighter, but in my opinion, I don't think it's possible to stay undefeated at 147. I think I remember when Adrian Booner was undefeated. What was he, like a 3-time world champion? He was skipping divisions. He looked unstoppable at one point.
But not in the welterweight division, though. But yeah.
Well, he skipped up, when he fought Paulie, when he got that belt. And, he wasn't supposed to lose to Madonna. Bradley was looking the same way. He was undefeated.
I said he was going to lose to
Madonna. Sean Porter was looking unstoppable, destroying Paulie Malignaggi, and then he lost to Kell Brook. And now, the same thing's going to happen to Kell Brook. So I think the welterweight division is really stacked. And I think since Floyd left, all the belts were just vacated, you know what I mean? So, Guerrero fought for a vacant belt. And Robert Guerrero, who's, already been in too many wars. Keith Thurman, I think he had the international title, WBA international title.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even think he even beat world champion to get the belt. I think he fought for a vacated belt as well.
Yeah.
Or he fought Diego Chavez or something something like that. And Kell Brook, he fought Sean Porter. He only defended the belt one time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think Errol Spence looks good now, but I think there'll be someone else, man. You never know, man. There's always someone else. Think about it now. These welterweights, they used to be coming from smaller divisions, but now these welterweights now, they fought at higher divisions. You know, Keith Thurman used to fight at 154. Sean Porter used to be a 160 fighter. Kurt Brook just fought at 160.
Well,
so, you know, these guys are a lot bigger now.
And let me just clarify. You know, I never said that, you know, I see him, you know, going undefeated for 10 years or anything like that.
Okay,
I was just saying, because you're right, we don't really know who's going to pop up. Another type of Errol Spence could emerge, you know, and really give him some, you know, some fits. But what I'm saying to you is, compared to all them fighters you just mentioned, when I go and I interview professional boxers and trainers, I have never heard so many professional boxers and trainers, they say, I see Errol Spence as the future. I don't see anybody beating him. I've never seen professional boxers and trainers predict that a guy that hasn't even stepped up, you know, to that type of level of competition will beat them all. I've never seen that. The last time I really predicted that I see a guy going real far, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back too much, was Floyd Mayweather when he had like 6 or 7 fights, you know, and before Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones when he had about 12 fights, you know what I mean? So, you know, I truly believe that there's a reason why professional boxers are praising Errol Spence so much. There's a reason why so many great welterweights don't want to fight him at all. You know, nobody wants to fight this guy, and that's because skill recognizes skill. Now, but we're going to find out in the next 3 or 5 years, you know, if Errol Spence is the last man standing when it comes to the welterweights, you know, that's there right now. So, you know, we'll definitely see, man. But once again,
all right, man.
Take care, man. I appreciate your call.
Man. I think Berto got this. I think he'll come back to 147, or not come back, but I think people are underestimating Berto. I think he'll come back.
Berto?
First call in, first time caller. So yeah, man, I appreciate your show. Keep doing your thing, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Call back anytime, man. Take care, man.
All right, bye.
Was he saying Berto?
He mentioned Berto. Well, before we you know, switch up, let's try to go to another award. We got to go ahead and give them all out. So we already did Crazy Ass Fool of the Year award.
Right.
We already did Most Avoided of the Year. Might as well. So Crazy Ass Fool of the Year, you know, that was it was Tyson Fury. Most Avoided was Errol Spence. Prospect of the Year was Jared Hurd. We had Upset of the Year. Congratulations to Joe Smith over Fonfara. Prospect of the Year, Jared. I just said that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Trainer of the Year. Let's go to Trainer of the Year. So this one, you know, it'll be interesting to see what you guys think about this. But I believe that the Trainer of the Year, I'm gonna go straight to it, is Virgil Hunter, and I believe that because he brought Andre Ward back from a long layoff. Within this year, he trained Andre Ward to beat the very, very talented Sullivan Barrera. His first fight back was against a Cuban #1 undefeated mandatory. He dominated, knocked down Sullivan Barrera. Yeah. And, of course, he beat Sergey Kovalev, regardless of who fans thought won. You know, he beat him, at least in the eyes of the 3 judges who all had the fight scored the exact same way. And a lot of trainers and fighters that I talked to after that fight, a lot of them said, man, you got to give the majority of that credit to Virgil Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was Virgil Hunter that, you know, that helped him rally back. It was him that basically helped him rally back in that fight,
you know,
and get back into the fight, regardless of who you guys thought won the fight. That's, you know, what a lot of people are saying. You know, go ahead, Milt.
Right, because, and I ain't mean to interrupt, but for me, man, when a fighter is hurt, or when a fighter gets to a certain, it finds himself in adversity in the ring, and I give you a prime example. Just this past weekend, with your girl Ronda Rousey, man,
ooh-wee.
let me tell you, her corner was yelling out the exact right things what she needed to do, but she was not ready for that fight. You know what I'm saying?
No, she wasn't.
She
wasn't.
And the thing is, it's because she was not mentally there.
No.
When she got hit, you could see that look on her face, like, oh shit, here it goes again.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like everything went out the window. She wasn't prepared mentally.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what Virgil in the relationship he has with Dre, it is like they're on that same pattern, a wavelength mentally, and mentally, you got to be sharp. And he had his fighter mentally prepared to face that adversity, listen to instruction, get back out there and go get that win. And this is coming from somebody who thought that Kovalev won the fight. I will tell y'all that, but I will tell you also it could have gone either way. That was a 50.
Fair assessment.
But what he had his fighter mentally prepared to go into that ring and face adversity, and when you do, get back up and get prepared to go back out there and win this fight. And his strategies in the corner, when he came back after that knockdown and after the first half of that fight, he was giving them the greatest instruction that any fighter could have ever received. But,
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you got to be mentally prepared, and he had his fighter mentally prepared for that fight.
And there you go. There you go. So, I mean, you got anything on that, Kurt? Trainer of the year?
I think that was perfectly put. Virgil Hunter, you feel like with his message that he or the advice that he offers fighters between rounds, he caters the message to the fighter.
Right.
To the actual,
he does.
To the moment and to the fight. So that tells you that he knows how to manage personalities. He knows how to manage the fighter as opposed to just taking in the fighter and making them fight a certain way.
Right.
He works with their strengths to emphasize their strengths, and then he works on their weaknesses to limit the effectiveness of the other opponent, exploiting their weaknesses physically and mentally.
Absolutely. And another thing that's impressive, notice it's Sergey Kovalev who's thinking about hiring an additional trainer. Andre Ward is not thinking about hiring an additional trainer. Right. So that alone shows you how good of a trainer Virgil Hunter is. Andre Ward is not thinking at all about, hiring another trainer. So, congratulations to Virgil Hunter for winning, the 2016. What's that?
Kovalev doesn't respect John David Jackson.
Well,
you can see that in the fight.
Well, you can see his body language. You can see his body language. He doesn't even look at John David when he's talking. I mean, but he has to respect him to a certain amount because he did keep him around for so long, But
sometimes you can outgrow somebody. You know what I mean? And I think they've outgrown their relationship. Probably outgrown each other, and it's time to move on.
Well, but he's not moving on, though. He's talking about keeping him, though.
Oh, really?
He's talking about keeping him. He wants to hire Nikolai Kromov, if I pronounce that last name right, which is a Russian trainer. He trained the Russian Olympic team. He trained.
I thought he was going to go get in my honorable mention for trainer of the year, Papachenko. I thought he was going to go get Papachenko. Man, that cat. And the reason I say I give him that honorable mention is because for so many years, people thought that Floyd built Floyd on his own, and that proper instruction wasn't coming from either Roger or Floyd Sr. and they never got the credit that they deserved as trainers of the year because they had such a superior fighter. And I want to give that didn't just come from nowhere. Papachenko did what he needed to do.
Oh, of course.
In order to get his son
in that
to
position.
Where he needs to, in that position. So I got to give him some credit for the spectacular knockout victory over my God, Mexican fighter.
Are you talking about Lomachenko?
Yeah.
Well, the knockout he had over Roman, you talking about Roman Martinez? The Puerto Rican,
my bad.
Yeah.
Roman Martinez, and then what he just did to the Axeman was just
unbelievable. I mean, and made it look easy. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first 3 rounds was an interesting chess match, but from that point on, what was really impressive was the fact that Lomachenko moved up in weight, and he was more of the aggressor than the bigger guy. Because everybody thought that Walters was going to be walking down Lomachenko, but I
for one thought he was. I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
it wasn't even a competitive fight.
No, especially not after like the 3rd round. But like I said, once again, congratulations to Virgil Hunter on that. Now I had already told you guys last week, and I know this is kind of this is a close one, but I told you guys last week I gave Fighter of the Year to Lomachenko. You know, I gave it to him just because of that win over Nicholas Walters. But I know a lot of people, they gave it to Carl Frampton. And Carl Frampton, he's definitely close in the runnings because I forgot he had the win against Scott Quigg.
Yeah.
And he had the win, of course, he moved up in weight, fought Leo Santa Cruz. But
which the rematch is coming up this month.
This month. Mm-hmm. But there's a bad taste in the fans' mouth because Carl Frampton also avoided his number one, his mandatory, which was Guillermo Rigondeaux. You know, he avoided his number one contender to move up and, of course, fight an easier, bigger Leo Santa Cruz. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to give Carl Frampton that right there. But
I can see that.
But yeah, I mean, that one is extremely subjective. There's a lot of close calls when it comes to that one. And even my man Kirk Jackson, he said he gave it to Andre Ward, which, when you said that, I had forgot when you said that Andre Ward had also beat Sullivan Barrera this year. Yeah. So, that one right there can kind of go, a lot of different ways right there. You feel me? So, but let's go real quick to Fight of the Year. Now, Fight of the Year, I really want to talk about this one because I want to, explain my situation, but I truly believe it's Thurman versus Porter. And I know Milton disagree with me, I think, so, but we'll talk about it, Now, go ahead and tell them who you thought was Fight of the Year or Fight of the Year. Fight of the Year.
Fight of the Year, and to me, it's because of, the level of competition. And I know that between those two, it was, what I mean, that's high level of comp. But I just thought that Thurman had that edge anyway. But Porter showed me a lot more than what I thought he was going to.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. He brought a lot more to the fight than I thought he was going to bring to the fight. But for me, I kind of had to go to the Carl Frampton Leo Santa Cruz fight because
Carl Frampton Leo Santa Cruz. That's okay. Yeah, that's I thought you said Orlando Salido against Vargas earlier.
I've been mulling. That was my number two. It was, to tell you the truth, it was 1A, 1B, but
I would put Frampton Cruz over Orlando Salido Vargas myself.
But it was so close for me, and I was thinking about it because I thought back about it. I remember when we mentioned it, I was talking on the phone with you. And I was wrestling with it all day, but I was just thinking about how tactical that fight was between Santa Cruz and Frampton. Frampton was countering so beautifully. It was some beautiful boxing going on in there. Now, and I know some people just like a war. You know what I mean? And neither one, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. And there's no, great way to win the title. I mean, both of those guys came in there and they were banging. And I understand most fans
real quick, hold on.
Like
hold that thought real quick. Victor Casada, why don't you call in and explain your situation and stop doing drive-bys and trolling, watching all the videos but scared to talk? Why don't you go ahead and call in? We'll wait for you. Let's see if you're going to call in and tell us what you disagree with. See, this is how you got to call out the decals. You put them on blast because it's easy. It's easy for them to, type stuff. He said you're biased. So go ahead. I want to get one of these decals. They so scared to call in, but they'll type though. They'll sit there and watch the whole show and do all this typing, but they scared to call in because they know goddamn well I would make them look so damn stupid. And they know it. They know I will make them look so damn stupid. Go ahead and call in so I can make your ass look stupid. But anyway, yeah, if you don't call in, I'm going to block you. If you don't call in, I'm going to block you. So, yeah, do that shit the real way. But anyway, yeah, I want to get one of these decals so I can serve their ass with some truth. Because they don't want that truth. That's why they don't call in. But anyway.
That's they calling them out.
Yeah, man.
But who you got, Kirk?
Go ahead, Kirk.
Fight of the Year came down to 3, and you guys actually mentioned all of them: the Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz, the Thurman, Porter, and then I also had Ward and Kovalev just because of the significance of that fight. But if I had to pick one, I'd actually go Porter and Porter and Thurman. And I mean, it's really difficult to choose fight of the year because what do you go for? Do you go for the significance of the fight? Do you go for the action, the technical skill? So I think you gotta kind of blend in all three.
Let me tell you, you won't get a more action-packed fight.
The Porter Thurman fight, man, that was legendary. I wish I was there for that one.
I know, but I tell you, the Salido Vargas fight, and Vargas always comes like that, man. Both of those guys, come to bang, and I mean, if you looking for an action-packed, I mean, they had for me round of the year. I think it was the 6th round. That 6th round of that fight, man, it was like, Corrales, what's his name? Castillo. Yeah, man. That round was was vicious, man. Mm-hmm. It was vicious. Mm-hmm. Vicious. And Dylan White and Chisora for heavyweights, man. That was the best heavyweight fight of the year that I've seen, that I saw.
I think that 4th round was pretty just back and forth.
Yeah, I know.
Yep. But anyway, and we we done went way over time, so we just I'm gonna just go ahead and call these other, I think that's pretty much all the ones. Knockout of the year, and I wanted to explain why I had Thurman, but we'll do it later on. But we had knockout of the year, gave that to Jamal Charlo. Once again, I mean, the fact that you got to look at a couple things when it comes to knockout of the year. There's a lot of vicious knockouts, right? And matter of fact, runner-up would definitely be Hassan Ndam.
Yeah.
We just seen that one. That was a vicious knockout. But I feel because of the level of opposition, I have to give a slight edge to Jamal Charlo knocking out Julian Williams. Considering the level of opposition, it was a fighter who, truly basically was favored to win. I mean, a lot of fans thought that Julian Williams was going to win that fight. And to do that to someone, a young, undefeated, hungry lion like that, you don't see it too often. You don't see two undefeated young fighters on that level knock each other out, or one of them gets knocked out in a fight like that. Usually it's a very impressive, type of chess match, so that was a very impressive knockout right there, man. So, yeah, I mean, that pretty much wraps it up on all of the awards right there, man. And definitely, man, we will definitely anything else you got on that right there when it comes to knockout of the year, Milton or Kirk?
I throw in it hurt my soul watching it, but Joe Smith Jr. and Hopkins.
Yeah, nice.
And I thought about that one too, but I'm like, and it's not because B-Hop was 51. No, it's because, the man was off balance through the ropes. I think that he was in a bad position. Ref could have stepped in and said, hey, break, gave him a break because the man was through the ropes. When he got hit with that final punch and he went flying out the ring, I give him credit for even standing up after that because it wasn't that he was out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's the reason I agree with you. I mean, it was a knockout, but it was like you said, with him falling out and everything. It's a tough call. But once again, like I said, I would have to give it to whatchamacallit, Jamal Charlo, man. So that's pretty much it, guys. We had a long, extensive show. We'll be back next week. We're gonna have a special guest on next week. We're supposed to, but I'll go ahead and tell you later on. I want to make sure everything is confirmed and everything.
Right.
So how that is. These cats every now and then they get a little too busy or whatever, and they gotta call out at the last minute and everything. So that's pretty much it, guys. Once again, man, I want to say thanks to all my guests, as we always do at this time, man.
Appreciate it.
And you already know my man over here, my man Milton Arline. He'll be back on the show. My man Kirk Jackson, he's a boxing writer on BoxingInsider.com. And you already know your boy Dante's Boxing Nation. Yeah, I'm gonna close out with this picture y'all looking at of my man Tyson Montana. You know what I'm saying? a.k.a., Tyson Montana Scarface. Congratulations to Tyson Fury for getting, one of the best awards, the Crazy Ass Fool of the Year award. So, we going to go ahead and wrap it up once again.
One more thing. Shout out Gervonta Tank Davis. Do your thing, baby.
Oh, man. Shout out to Gervonta. We're going to talk a little bit more about that fight because we talked a little bit about it, right?
We talked a little bit about it, right? I wanted to get more into it, but we had so much, not enough time.
And Badu-Jack, shout out to Badu-Jack. Shout out to James Degale, man.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about both of those fights. We're going to give you guys a more extended breakdown next week. All right, it'll be around the same time, man. Monday, anywhere from 5:30 to 6 o'clock. But I'll go ahead and let you guys know what it is. All right, y'all. We on to the next one, y'all. Deuces. Peace.